Hi, Shelley from Spin Cushions here, and today I'm going to show you how to make this block from my Siren's Atlas collection called, I'm going to say Visayan, but I'm sure that that's probably the wrong way to say it. It's fairly easy. There's probably one round up here that might give you a little, make you think a bit more than normal, but it's still really quite easy. So let's get started. Now I'm going to make mine using one single colour. If you are going to be changing colours, I'll let you know as we go if you need to do anything different. So I'm going to start with a magic circle, which you can do too, or you can start with the chain 4 joined into a loop. It's up to you. Now a first round, there are quite a lot of stitches for a first round. Start with our chain 3 starting chain or false stitch, like I like to do. I do have a YouTube video showing you how to do that if you want to look that up. And then we do 19 trebles UK or doubles US. So we're going to have 20 stitches in total in this round. So that's 2, 3, okay, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, if you're doing magic circles, this is where you pull it tight. And then we are going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the third chain of our starting chain, or to the top of your false stitch if you've done one like me. Okay, so that is round 1 done. Don't worry if it's a little bit bumpy. This one is going to be probably not quite flat until the later rounds. So don't worry about it, it will happen. So the next round is completely made up of double crochets UK, single crochets US. So you start with a stitch in the same place as your slip stitch, and then do a stitch in the next 19 stitches. So again, we're going to have a stitch count of 20 again. Just a stitch in every stitch. I'm sure you can do that. I'll come back and show you how to join up. One more to go in this round, 20, and join with a slip stitch to your first stitch. Okay, the next round. Now it starts a little differently. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be working into the back loops only of the next round. But for our first one, we're going to slip stitch into the back loop only of the next stitch. So we've joined up here to this stitch. So the very next stitch, the back loop only, insert your hook and do a slip stitch. Now we're going to begin our round, which is do chain 3 starting chain or a false stitch, chain 1, and then a treble UK double US in the back loop only of the next stitch. So every single stitch has a stitch in it in the back loop only, and there's one chain in between them. It's trebles UK, doubles US all the way around. So we're going to end up with 20 stitches and 21 chain spaces. It's 19 stitches and 20 stitches. And we're going to chain 1 and join with a slip stitch to our first stitch, false stitch, or the third chain of your starting chain. Okay, so there we go with round 3 done. Now round 2 is another simple round, double crochets UK, single crochets US. Start with the first one in the same stitch we did our slip stitch in, and we'll do 1 in every 1 chain space as well. So it's just a stitch in every stitch and a stitch in every chain space. So this time we're going to end up with 40 stitches at the end of this round. So I will do that and show you how to finish off. Okay, so the last stitch of this round should be in a 1 chain space, and then we'll join with a slip stitch to our first stitch. We should have 40 stitches. Okay, the next round is again, we're going to be working into the back loops only. So again, we're going to start with a slip stitch into the back loop only of the next stitch to get us into the right spot. Then we're going to chain 3 starting chain or false stitch, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do a treble UK WS into the back loop only of the next one. So exactly the same as what we did before, but this time we're going to have 40 stitches and 41 chain spaces. So, and it's going to be quite floppy this round, but then the round after that will straighten all the kinks out, or most of them anyway. So I will do my 40 stitches and chain spaces and come back and show you here. Okay, I think I've just got two more stitches to go. The last one should be in this stitch that we joined into. Chain 1 and join with a slip stitch to the top of your starting chain or your false stitch. So there we go. It's a little bit floppy. It's not too bad. Okay, now this next round is the one where you're probably going to have to concentrate a little bit. It's not hard once you understand what's going on. What we're going to be doing is it's all double crochets UK or single crochets US, but sometimes we're going to be doing a decrease stitch or a DC2 together or a SC2 together. So we start by doing a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the same space as our slip stitch. Then we do one in the one chain space. Then we do one in the next stitch. And then we're going to double crochet 2 together over in between. Sorry, we're going to double crochet UK, single crochet US 2 together using the one chain space and the stitch. So loop to the front, then into the stitch, loop to the front, yarn over through all 3. Okay, so that's just a little partial repeat. This is the proper full repeat you're going to be doing all the way around. So we do one in the space, one in the stitch, one in the space, one, the 2 together, starting in the stitch this time. Then we do one in the stitch, one in the space, one in the stitch, and this time we start our 2 together in the space. So basically we're doing 3 stitches, whether it's in a stitch or a space, 1, 2, 3, and then we're doing 2 together, and sometimes it'll alternate between starting in a stitch and starting in a one chain space. So 1, 2, 3, and then together. 1, 2, 3, and then together. So you should be, if you do that correctly, when you get around the other side, I will show you what it should look like. And you should have, at the end of this round, 64 stitches. Okay, so I'll keep going and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, so if you've done your repeats all the way around correctly, you might have noticed I made a mistake near the end of when I was showing you, so I had to do a bit of undoing. If you've done it all correctly, you should finish with a DC2 together over a stitch and a space, or an SC2 together over a stitch and a space. And then you simply join up with a slip stitch to your first stitch. And there you have it. It's still probably a little bit wobbly, but the next round in the next few rounds will make it completely straight. Okay, so now we're going to be doing the squaring off. And again, the squaring off round is going to be done in the back loop only round. So we're going to slip stitch to the back loop only of our next stitch to start with. And we are going to chain 4, starting chain, or I'm pulling up a longer loop. I'm going to do just a slightly longer false stitch, because the stitch in the corners are actually double trebles UK or triples US. So that's my false stitch or a starting chain. Then we're going to do a half double treble UK or a half triple US in the next stitch. So yarn over in the same back loop only. Yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull a loop to the front, yarn over through 2, then yarn over through 3. Then we are going to do a treble UK WS in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do a half treble UK, half double US in the next 3 stitches. Sorry, the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. And then we're going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. Then we work our way up again. Half treble, half double in 3. Then a treble or double in the back loop only of the next 3. Okay, so that's our side. Now we're going to do our corner, all in the back loop only of the next stitch. So the first one is a half double treble UK or half triple US, then a double UK or a double US, then chain 2, double UK, a triple US, and a half double treble UK or half triple US. And then that's our repeat. So that's our corner. I'll move my way around and I'll show you how to finish off here. Okay, so if you had the right stitch count at the start and you've done your repeats correctly, you should end up here. And we need to finish off by doing a half double treble UK or half triple US in the same space as our first stitches, and then a double treble UK or triple US. Then, if you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch. If you're not changing colours like me, chain 1, pop a scrap of yarn in if this is a new method of joining up to you. And then I'm going to join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US to my first stitch. Okay, so what that does is it puts us in the middle, as if we're in the middle of a 2 chain space, ready to start the next round. And the next round, actually the next 2 rounds are identical, so I'm just going to show you the start of one and I'm sure you can figure it out. We're going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US over the joining stitch. So where that stitch marker is, you pop your hook in, do a stitch, and then we're going to do a double UK, single US in every stitch along the side. So there should be 19 of those. In the 2 chain spaces, we're going to do a stitch, 2 chain and a stitch, and the next round is exactly the same. So I will show you the end of this round, just in case you haven't done my method of joining before. So I will work my way around and I will come back and show you how to join up here. Won't be long. Okay, so I've worked my way all the way around. Excuse me. I just need to do a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. It's quite obvious here, but with the next round it's not quite so obvious. So now to join up, if you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch. If you're not changing colours, chain 1. Move that little scrap of yarn up here. Then join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US. Do the next stitch. So you can see there's quite a lot going on in that little tiny space there. Unless you're really used to reading crochet stitches, it might be a bit hard to see. So the next round is another round exactly the same as this, except we're going to finish it slightly differently. We start with a stitch over the joining stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. This is where it comes in handy if you're not sure what you're doing. And then again we do a stitch in every stitch along the side. It should be 21 this time. And do a stitch, 2 chain, a stitch in each 2 chain space in the corners. So I will do all of that and I will come back and show you how to finish this one off. Okay, so all of my repeats are done. All I need to do now is a stitch in the same place as our first stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. Chain 2, get rid of that now, and join with a slip stitch to our first stitch. And that is that. So finish that off. Okay, a quick block of course will make it nice and straight. And here you go. You can see our Visayan in Bendigo Woolen Mills cotton and in Cascade Ultra Prima cotton. Excuse the light, it's suddenly gotten very dark here. They're pretty much the same size, but if you need to adjust the size of this one, you can either leave off the last round or 2 or add another round. Quite simple. So there you have it. That is probably me saying it wrong, Visayan square from Siren's Atlas. Hopefully I'll see you soon with another one. Thanks. Bye.